we are going to be drafting a top five all-time list of SoundCloud rap. I would say I put rap. I don't know if you're just putting songs in general.
I have all rap.
So today we're drafting a top 5 all-time SoundCloud track, the golden era, which we both lived through in college. People forget that. Snake style. After we draft our top 5, let us know in the comments who won. Honestly, if some people click on this, I think the true SoundCloud fans with my list might be a little upset. Like if you're like really getting into the nitty gritty, like I'm not gonna have any Lil Peep songs on my SoundCloud list. If that's
I don't have any Lil Peep either. If that's
okay. So maybe listen, honorable mentions. I'll obviously do like the Lil
Save
Peep.
that for the end. Save that for the end.
Okay, that's fine. How should we determine who goes first? Like I said, snake style. How do you want to do this?
Just go ahead. You can start us off. You came up with the idea. You get to start.
Okay. Well, I think personally to intro this song, I am taking with my number 1 overall pick. This might be the easiest pick on the board. And if this was not your first overall pick as well, your list is inaccurate. And that is Fetty by Playboi Carti featuring Dash and Maxo Cream. Probably the most, in my opinion, Playboi Carti's most iconic song. And I know he has a ton of them, but I absolutely love everything about that song. The hook, the 2 verses by Maxo Cream and Dash are hard as fuck. On top of that, hearing Maxo Cream give an interview, which I'm sure you've probably watched this as well, where they talk about the shooting of the music video for Fetty, which is like such a dope music video where he pretty much just says like, we got high as fuck and we don't even know what happened. We just shot a music video. And I thought that everything about that song, including the music video, encapsulates the SoundCloud era of rap like almost perfectly. So number 1 overall off the board, Fetty by Playboi Carti featuring Dash and Maxo Cream. Any thoughts on that?
So I wanted to ask you about this whole thing. That's a banger. I wanted to ask you because some of these songs have made their way onto like Spotify and music, but originated on SoundCloud. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we were like, for people, if anybody are gonna get hit in the like hit us with comments or anything like that, like we were actually outside for the entire SoundCloud era. So from like 2015 to 2018, 19, we were out. That's when we were outside. So if people have anything to say, like we were there.
All right.
Wait, time out. Was Fetty on your board at all?
No, I forgot about that.
I mean, that's an L, but go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead with your Noah. You have back-to-back picks, so your first overall pick. Go ahead.
I'm going with my first overall pick as Money Longer by Lil Uzi Vert.
Okay. I like that. You any context on the song? Like what sticks out to you about that song? Your memories of it, anything?
I think that like might be the first time that I remember hearing Lil Uzi Vert, and from there it was like, what is this? Like that is that era of Lil Uzi was and still is like some of the best Uzi that it feels like we'll never get again. And he almost like kind of tries to chase, but it's so hard to replicate that type of Lil Uzi now after all the things and like things that he's been through and just like what was going on at the time and the style of music now versus what was popping back then.
Honestly, miss those times. Uzi obviously was maybe, I'd say he's a pioneer of SoundCloud. That's how he got his start. That's how I heard about him originally back in the day of 2016, 2015. But yeah, I mean, that is a great iconic Uzi song. So good pull. But you have another pick, so go ahead.
I'll be honest, I have a lot of Uzi on here.
That's fine. Hey, dude,
I'm not gonna go.
This is your personal top 5 favorite list. So I mean, whatever you think, go ahead.
All right. My number 2 pick is gonna be So we do talk about Travis Scott here a lot on this podcast, and
I'm worried this might be on my list.
This was recently put out on like streaming platforms.
Okay, go ahead.
And that would be Days Before Rodeo, that mixtape album. I guess it's a mixtape if it starts out on SoundCloud. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was a mixtape.
This is a kind of a maybe not kind of, but I'm gonna go with Travis Scott, Drugs. You should try it.
Yeah, listen, I'm not gonna lie, wasn't even on my board. Embarrassing as the resident Travis Scott mega fan.
Yeah.
But go. You want to talk about that song a little bit? Like, go ahead. Obviously, that's obviously it's an all-time classic Travis Scott song.
So I remember the first time that I heard Travis Scott was a sophomore in high school. The very first thing that I heard from him was off of Al Farrow, Hell of a Night. And Kai Smith showed me that on the bus to a football game. And from that point forward, I was like, holy shit, what is this? And so I went home and tried to figure out exactly like how I could download Al Farrow, and then I found Days Before Rodeo. I think that came out a little bit later. But that's like the origin of the Travis Scott love on my end. So, and that was like one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, I think I don't know how many songs do this. At least I don't know how many songs I notice it on, but the stereo panning in that song where like it's in there's sounds in your right ear, sounds in your left ear, and it kind of like intertwines in between both of them. That is like my favorite part of that song. I don't, like I said, I don't know any other songs off the top of my head where it does that. But that's something that I always loved about that song.
It was and still is like peak Travis Scott. Not necessarily peak. Let me rescind that, but like hearing that, and I feel like discovering a new artist for like the first time, and then watching them like how we have become the biggest artists in the world. Like,
yeah, it's crazy.
It's honestly so cool. Like going on DatPiff and trying to download Al Farrow and Days Before Rodeo.
I mean, you were wearing a Travis Scott diamond T-shirt in high school.
Yeah, I was.
Do you remember that
one
T-shirt?
Of those way back in the day?
Like, it's the shirt.
Yeah. It was like the flame behind it with like.
Yeah, it was like before graphic tees were like a thing. Really, you were wearing like some like crazy ass Travis Scott shirt from Diamond that you got from like PacSun. So
that's right.
So like literally like crazy pull and throwback. But yeah, I mean, we've been there through the beginning. So honestly, solid top two to start out. You have Money Longer, and then you have by Lil Uzi Vert, and then your number two was Drugs. You Should Try It by Travis Scott. I'm back on the clock with my number two overall pick. I'm pulling from the same boat in a sense. Travis Scott, SDP interlude, the extended version. Which obviously has never come to streaming, still on YouTube, SoundCloud, all of that with hundreds of millions of views. I think that if that was ever put out onto streaming platforms, it probably will never be, but that has to be one of Travis Scott's best songs ever made, and it's a complete throwaway.
Such a good one. Honestly, when I was going through, I had a feeling that you would have that on your list. I think it's one of it's awesome. I did not have it on mine, but still a great song nevertheless.
Love bumping that song. I literally listen to it probably a little too often. But to round back, Snake Style, third on my list. A mixture of two artists that you pulled, Lil Uzi, Travis Scott. Rah. Hate saying that name because it's a little it makes me feel weird. But Rah by Travis Scott featuring Lil Uzi Vert. That song was maybe the first song where I understood maybe like the idea of like psychedelic rap in a way where it felt like I was floating listening to a song just on the intro of that song where Travis Scott is like harmonizing his vocals, just doing some crazy shit over a fire beat. And then obviously the drop on that is insane. And obviously Uzi comes in, kills it. Travis kills it. The beat's nuts. The harmonizing on that track is just everything about it I think is done perfectly, and again a complete throwaway just on SoundCloud, never came to streaming services ever.
And the like the cover art for that picture is an all black Lambo that's on fire.
So hard.
Sick. Yeah, I had that on my list too. As I was going through, I'm like, God, and I was playing them too, and I was like, God, this song is still such a banger,
still such a slapper. If you go through I didn't want to make my whole list of top 5 Travis Scott like throwaways, but I mean,
it's getting hard not to.
If you don't think that he has some of the best catalog on Spotify, I just think that you're out of your mind. But go ahead.
Yeah. As I was going through this, it just makes you realize like how many great songs that he has that are just floating out there on Spotify or on SoundCloud that just haven't made their way to actual streaming services yet.
To anything. So right. Okay, I have my top 3. You have the next 2 picks to round out. So this would be 3 and 4 for you, correct?
Yeah. I have a song on here that I know that there's no shot that you pull, so I'm gonna save it.
Okay. You're gonna be sick when I say it next.
There's no way.
Okay.
I'll be dead shook. I'll turn my laptop off if you pick it.
Go ahead.
So with my 3rd pick, I'm taking No Flockin' by Kodak.
Great song. I listen, I didn't even know. Maybe I wasn't outside as much as I thought I was. I didn't know that was a SoundCloud slapper, but maybe one of the most iconic Kodak songs ever.
I believe that's where it started.
You're right. You're 100% right. Listen, you were outside back then.
I was. All right. And then I think that song actually was I think the reason that I heard that song was Drake put up a video of him like dancing to it on his plane. Yeah. Okay. And I was like, what in the hell is that? And from there it was Kodak. And now I don't even know what Kodak's up to, but
back when Drake was actually tapped.
He was super tapped in right there. All right. So the original version of this is likely the more popular one, but I like this version better that I'm about to say, and I'm picking Uber Everywhere by Made in Tokyo with the Travis Scott remix.
Why would the original one be more popular than that?
I feel like not that many people know that Travis Scott did a remix on it. That's why.
There was somebody back in the day, not that long ago, but recently, who said that that Tory Lanez threw together a better verse on the Uber Everywhere joint than Travis Scott did. I said that is preposterous. The Travis Scott feature on Uber Everywhere is iconic. He floated on that shit, and when it dropped, maybe it was just for us, because we were really tapped in, but that had the streets buzzing.
Yeah, I feel like if you weren't like keeping that much track of it, you wouldn't have really found it. But I know that like the original Uber Everywhere was doing numbers.
Yeah, it definitely was. You're right. Yeah. It definitely was doing numbers. And then in the beginning of that, I think Travis Scott, like before he goes in on his verse, he's like, "Should I do this shit and drop this shit like tomorrow?"
Yeah.
And then just goes in on that bitch, which sounds like a Travis throwaway, to be honest with you. And he murked it, obviously.
It would have been nice for him for that to be actually out there.
Hey,
but
we still
that was a banger.
We
I
still have
know.
access to it.
You're right.
Okay.
All right, you've got what, 4 and 5 for me.
I have 4, and I think that this is going to be, if this one isn't, this is another one where if it's on your list, I'll be a little bit shocked. This is the first one that I'm going to be pulling from Drake. Obviously, me and you lived through the absolute heyday of Drake, from like middle school to like end of college. Like, we witnessed the entire Drake like at his apex, like dominate, like anything that he dropped was automatically a slapper. And
there was no criticism about anything.
Zero criticism, and it was, everything was just almost, it was borderline perfect. I mean, like, fuck, we were listening to Hotline Bling, and that song is dog shit.
Yeah.
So
it was going crazy back then.
It was going crazy back then if you were outside. But 4, I'm going Vital by Drake. And if that's one of those songs where I genuinely think, like, every time I listen to it, I think that might be my personal favorite all-time Drake song, no matter what. I love the sample on it. I love the slow ride on the beat, and I think that he absolutely kills it on the rapping perspective. And then when he goes into some parts where I wouldn't call it like overly singing, but like obviously doing his thing with the vocals as well. I just think it's a perfectly made track by Drake.
Vital, oh baby, on Bible. Yeah, I didn't have that one, but because I didn't think it was a SoundCloud one, because I feel like that came out in 2020?
2019.
Okay. So that might have been like right as COVID was starting, I think. Yeah, I didn't realize that was a SoundCloud song.
Hey, if I'm out of range,
No, that's fine. That's fine, because I still think that like falls in the same category of what we're talking about.
Now, I don't know where this song exists at all. I have a file on my phone, on my iPhone, where it'll probably never come off my iPhone ever. I have a few songs like that on here where I just have files on my local files on like Spotify, etc. But like, I don't even think you can listen to that shit on YouTube.
I honestly have no clue either, but I have that file as well.
We might have passed it around with the boys.
I think it might have. I think so.
Can we get in trouble for that?
I don't think so. But I remember during COVID just being in my room, just blasting that on my sound bar, not because I couldn't leave my room, and just being like, God, this song's so sick. Like,
so good.
I don't understand why that one never made it onto that should have been on Dark Lane demo tapes, because that came out around that time.
Yeah, same era. Yeah, same Drake era.
Yeah, but that is such a good one.
All-time vault Drake song that we will literally never get.
Never.
Now, for my final pick, it's only right, I have to add this guy on the list. He is who I consider the GOAT of rapping, and that is Future. And I am going with Yellow Tape. Yellow Tape by Future is hard as fuck. Do you know that song?
I think I've heard it before, but it's probably been years since I've heard it.
So that is another one that always pops up in my rotation. Have to give some credit to Future. I mean, like I said, he's probably my all-time GOAT of rapping. So Yellow Tape by Future. I'm shocked that you don't know that song.
I'll have to listen to it again after this, but off the top of my head, I can't remember it.
That's crazy. But hey, go ahead. You have 4 and 5.
No, I've got just 5.
Just 5, sorry.
So I knew that this wasn't going to make it because it is like a very, very, I don't even know, behind some mountain under a bridge, Lil Uzi song. It's called Buy It by Lil Uzi.
No clue. No idea.
I knew you weren't going to know what that one was.
Couldn't even tell you one lyric from that song.
But God, it's so like, I think it's like a 2-minute song. but it's like very upbeat. It's very like,
is it
go
rapping or
yard, buy it.
harmonizing? So harmonizing,
Kind of both, a little bit of both, but more so harmonizing.
Oh, I know the exact song that you're talking about
Yeah.
when you just said that. Okay,
Dude, I kind of wish I've got it earlier. I should have taken it earlier because it is higher up on my actual list. But for the sake of like just having a solid collection of 5, I knew I'd be able to get it at 5, and I wanted to get those other ones because I did think there might have been a shot that like drugs you should try it, or like something like that wasn't going to make it.
Yeah, not gonna fall off the list. So
yeah.
So I guess I get first off, if people are true SoundCloud heads, like I'm not saying I'm like a big SoundCloud head, but I think that and this is just me, and maybe you can weigh in on this and see what you think. When I think of SoundCloud, I almost think of like emo rap a little bit. Like where
like Juice WRLD was a huge XXXTentacion, like Uzi, where all those guys are like emotional rapping on SoundCloud.
Trippy Red,
Lil Peep,
Ski Master Slump God, Lil Peep, like those are when I really like am starting to think about like what SoundCloud is. Like those are the guys that like I think of, but like as a personal selection of songs, those guys aren't making my top 5. I did think of to add one. I thought to add TK the Race because like
generational.
That is a generational like song and concept, and the fact that he was just like a 16-year-old bull like on the run was just like looking back on it now because he's just been like sentenced to like literally like 180 years like
life, yeah.
So it definitely crazy. Are there any overload songs that you had that you would like to mention on this? Because I have one that I was going to put, but I felt like if I said it and this video gained any sort of traction, I would have got flamed for it.
So before you mention it, I do want to say, like, I'm looking at the Double XL magazine right now, that cover for 2016, which was like basically all the SoundCloud guys. And that cover, that class was Anderson .Paak, 21 Savage. The fact that we didn't have like 21 Savage on this, he deserves honorable mention.
Yeah, for sure.
Kodak, Uzi, Lil Dicky, Dave East, Denzel Curry, Designer, G Herbo, and Yachty.
Yachty is a big one that we left off too.
I know. I was just gonna say, like, I
mean, that whole list is pretty impressive. Besides Lil Dicky and Designer.
Yeah, but even at the time, like Lil Dicky still went on to have like a good career outside of music, and
I just
Designer
never
was on a. Oh yeah, that's fair. And Designer was on The Life of Pablo. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is. But looking like all of those other guys, though, that you have mentioned, they all have like continued to rise, and Lil Dicky has continued to rise in other ways. The only person that's pretty much just fallen off is Designer. And if you don't know what he did on that airplane, maybe just like a quick Google search if you want. But that guy's
don't look it up.
Wait, don't Google it. Actually, my bad.
Don't Google it. Not around anyone.
So do you have any honorable mentions of songs that didn't make your list?
Yes, here, give me 1 second. So some other songs that I had on here, I don't know if it started on SoundCloud, but I had Back to Back, the freestyle by Drake.
Okay.
That was on, I think that was a SoundCloud one. No Feelings by Travis and Party Next Door.
Oh, fuck. That's a good one.
Yeah. I had Fago Dreams by Six Dogs. Okay. I don't know if you knew that one.
No.
Swang Remix by Travis.
Oh, that's a banger too.
Yeah. And then I also had Green and Purple by Travis and Cardi.
Generational song. The one I want to go back to that. The one song that I had that I wanted to take that I felt like everybody would rush me for is like "Look at Me" by XXXTentacion.
I had it like on my list too.
That's like the SoundCloud song that I think of like from like back in the day. Like, that "Look at Me"? I remember it was like 2016. And randomly one day, my Instagram Explore page was just filled with like a mugshot of this kid, XXXTentacion, and I was like, "Who the hell is this dude?"
You mean Quinshon Judkins?
Yeah, him. But my favorite day in SoundCloud history was when Travis dropped A-Man, Butterfly Effect, and Green and Purple as a 3-pack on Spotify. And literally every single song went absolutely insane. And everybody was like bumping that shit like it was crazy.
Yeah, I remember, I believe that came out in like the summer of 2016.
Yeah, something like that.
And it was awesome. But I do think the only other like honorable mention that is I mean, we talked about Yachty, but One Night and Minnesota, I feel like deserve a shout out because
those songs, I hated them, but I mean, they obviously had their moment.
Bro, One Night by Yachty has 70 million plays on SoundCloud.
Trust me, I know it's crazy, but it doesn't mean that I hated the song still.
No, that's fine, but I feel like if you got 70 mil on SoundCloud,
it's got to be somewhat decent.
Yeah. Oh, there's another one on here that I fucking love. It's called No Hook by Lil Yachty. Such a banger. I'm listening to it right now.
So to recap, and then let us know in the comments below, who do you think won this draft? My top 5: Fetty. At 1, Fetty by Playboi Carti, Dash, and Maxo Cream. 2, SDP Interlude Extended by Travis Scott. 3, Rah Rah, Travis Scott featuring Lil Uzi Vert. 4, Vital by Drake. And 5, Yellow Tape by Future. And then Noah, read off your top 5.
I had, oh wait, hold on here. I have all these other files up. Hold on. All right, my top 5. Money Longer by Lil Uzi, Drugs You Should Try It by Travis Scott, No Flockin' by Kodak Black, Uber Everywhere remix by Made in Tokyo and Travis Scott, and Buy It by Lil Uzi.
Lot of Travis Scott on this list. So let us know.
I have one other honorable mention.
Go ahead.
Pissy Pamper by Young Nudie and Playboi Carti.
Hey, Playboi Carti went on an all-time SoundCloud run, so I'm not gonna hate on that at all.
Yeah.
So, hey, let us know in the comments who won this draft, me or Noah. And obviously comment, like, subscribe, do your thing. I just spit it. Good girl, we're getting paper as a passion. Collect the stacks and bring it back, man, and take vision.